This podcast contains spoilers, explicit language, and is not meant for anyone younger than 13. Do not harass any of the names mentioned in this episode. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to John vs. Film. And are you ready for some reconnaissance? Reconnaissance? Yeah, we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2020. It probably, one of the most successful movies to come out in 2020 by default. Yeah, like this literally came out like February 2020 before the pandemic really kind of hit. So yeah, I'm looking at Wiki right here. It was the sixth highest grossing film of 2020. Um, but yes, anyway, we're gonna look at that, and then next week we'll be taking a look at Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I'm recording this before I go see the second one, but by the time this one comes up, um, or this episode comes out, I would have already seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So yeah, as kind of a rundown, Sonic the Hedgehog, it came out in 2020. It was directed by Jeff Fowler. Yeah, Jeff Fowler. I need to work on enunciating my words better. Um, and it was written by Pat Casey and Josh Miller. Alright, so here's a rundown of how I do things in podcast. I talk about 5 things I like, then I talk about 5 things I dislike, or slash criticisms, and then I end it all with overall thoughts as kind of the ribbon or the cherry on top. Anyway, so let's get into this. Well, first of all, if you have seen my Sonic OVA, or I should say, listen to my Sonic OVA episode, which chances are you haven't, since that has 0 views on everywhere. I mentioned how I was disappointed that while it showed the Sega logo, it didn't have anything resembling Sega. Well, here we have the Sega, but it's like a cinematic, you know, very cinematic Marvel Studio kind of flare up of the Sega. It's very orchestrated. There's a chorus and all that. So yes, already we're a step up from the OVA. Um, so there you go. That was my first like. The second thing I like was I really like Sonic in this movie. Pretty much everything about Sonic, from his performance, his story. He's a very lovable character and overall did a great job. And I really like the design that they have in the movie. Now, I will get to the trailer design, in a little bit, but um, I just want to touch on the design specifically at first because I think the design is probably one of the best Sonic designs, period. And even comparing to the games. Now, I know that's very blasphemous of me to say, but the thing is with this Sonic design is that he is very, he still looks like Sonic. They got the core elements of Sonic, but they allow Sonic to be more emotive, with his eyes and stuff. Like if you notice in the games, they kind of only they don't do anything with the brows. They just kind of do stuff with the eyelids, and you can't really get much, emotion from that or much emoting. But when it comes to the movies or that they're actually using now, it's like actually such an improvement on that because Sonic is, very emotive. So, and it also sells, the 2 eyes. See that's the funny thing. Sonic, Sonic's design kind of is only like looks like he has 1 eye with 2 pupils. That's like just design, but here they still keep, the basics of the what makes the classic design work. but adding their own stuff to it, to really make it their own, but also at the same time, it's not too far away from you know the classic design. And heck, they still are able to do two eyes, but still make it look like the classic Sonic eyes. And they got the proportions right. And again, the design is great job. Uh, yeah, and then going into the story, so it's nothing new. It's a kind of a fish out of water slash I'm alone in the world, but I do like how it's he's pretty much grown up on Earth, but he's not able to make friends because he is a blue alien hedgehog. You know, people kind of freak out about that. So him feeling like a fish out of water because he's again a talking blue alien hedgehog, you know, but he's also, alone. He has no social experience. So having, these little quirks, where he's very an energetic kid, exploring everything, is not super confident in himself. There's more to this character than just gotta go fast. Whoa, I got an attitude. You know, they add a lot to the Sonic character where he still keep kind of like that attitude flair where he's a bit cocky. Or I am so sorry about that. The train really decided to come while I was recording. I can't block that out, so it's gonna be in the episode. Thanks, train. And I'm not restarting, so yeah, that was a rude interruption from the train. So this is what it feels like to be heckled on stage. Where was I? Oh yeah, just that Sonic still has kind of this cocky flair to it, where he's still making jokes, and he's still like, "How you like me now?" But again, there's still some of that doubt. He's not super confident in himself. In fact, he admits that he needs help getting to San Francisco because he doesn't know where that is. You know, he like admit, there's more to Sonic than just you know him having a 90s attitude. And another thing that sells Sonic is the performance done by Ben Schwartz. I think he's done a fabulous job in voice acting throughout recent years as like Leonardo in the Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which sadly I haven't seen much of. But then he's Dewey in the DuckTales reboot, which I've seen. I think like all of the first season and some other episodes from other seasons. Yeah, I kind of accidentally fell out, but it was like, wow, okay, the train is being extra annoying today. I'm not sure if you can hear this, but it's like very screechy and uh this is gonna be, I am so sorry, but I'm not editing this out. This is kind of how my podcast goes. So um but yeah, Ben Schwartz, he does really good job. And he's a perfect fit for Sonic. I think this is, one of those times where the casting actually, like casting, a star actually benefits, like the voice. It's not just, oh, we need a big name star. No, they actually got, okay, this star actually works for this character. So they, again, that was a good job of, you know, just having solid casting, Ben Schwartz's delivery, and he just captures Sonic in general. So yeah, I just right there alone, Sonic really sells that movie on his own. Um, but he's not the only one that sells the movie. We also have Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. Yeah, so I'm gonna go into my third like now, and yeah, and again, this is a Jim Carrey is a really big, name, actor, and sure, he had like his name alone does sell tickets, I'm sure. But the thing with this performance is, again, it feels like it was actually good casting because Jim Carrey sells this mad scientist persona really well. I mean, again, there's some Jim Carrey mannerisms, but there is. I do feel like Jim Carrey did look at some of the stuff with Dr. Robotnik. He has like this sort of goofiness from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. But it also has some menacing moments. You know, from Sonic Sad AM. I feel like Jim Carrey actually did some research on his performance of making this version of Dr. Robotnik. Now, the only criticism I have is that we didn't see him bald until the end credits sequence, which was they're just bald. But other than that, yeah, Jim Carrey sold the performance. Um, and I'm getting back to my notes. So yeah, like pretty much like if I had to envision Dr. Robotnik on the big screen, Jim Carrey was that vision. And I also love his like sidekick henchman Agent Stone. The chemistry between Robotnik and his yes man Agent Stone is great. I just love so in the movie you have like sort of, this buddy cop, buddy duo thing with Sonic and police officer Tom. Um, you have that, but then you got the opposite, which is Robotnik and Agent Stone. But I really love, Robotnik and Agent Stone's, partnership or relationship or whatever you want to call it much more. It was so much more entertaining because the thing is, Robotnik was very abusive, but Agent Stone like took it like a champ. He was loyal as heck. Uh, One of the standout, one of the funny scenes in the movie is that, after they fail to get Sonic, or whatnot, Robotnik's obviously frustrated. And then Agent Stone's like, did we get him? Oh, no, we didn't get him. Man, they're sure fast. And then Robotnik looks at him. And he's like, hey, Agent Stone, give me a moment. As they go back into Robotnik's, truck, Robotnik tells Agent Stone to pin himself to the wall. And that's what he does. Agent Stone literally puts his own hand on his chest and pushes himself onto the wall. And then Robotnik berates him. It was funny stuff. I really loved their chemistry and their relationship. And also, you know, I mean, let's face it. Why do we like this relationship? It's because Agent Stone thought that Robotnik might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk. And what do what does he look like? An imbecile? Of course he wants a latte. He loves the way you make them. Yeah, sorry, I butchered. I was trying to parody that quote, but I failed. I failed miserably. Ah, man, I wish I edited my podcast now. Fuck. It's gonna have to stay in, I guess. Oh well. Um. So yeah. Um. For my fourth point, for what I liked, for my likes is the humor and action. I'm combining this as two, as I feel they're both kind of equally good. It's not like the humor is nothing special, but it's not like comedic genius levels or anything. Um, but even while I was watching it last night, and this was like not the second time, but maybe third or fourth time I've ever viewed this movie, and I was getting, still getting a couple of chuckles, especially with Jim Carrey's scenes, so the humor aspect, I think it was still there. Again, these weren't the funniest jokes I've ever heard, but again, it was just how it was just there was quite a bit of humor that I really enjoyed and got a chuckle out of me, even when viewing by myself. And I felt the action was good. Was good. Wow, good, good. Yeah, that's a word now. Good. But anyway, good. It really kind of captures that high speed, you know, energy of the Sonic. Just very much, you know, it gets that speedster, like quality to it. And yeah, of course we have the Quicksilver moments, where time slows down and everybody around him except for Sonic, but that happens a couple times. But at the same time, we also got some just very fast and really, solid, action in my opinion. And now I'm going to talk about the fifth thing I like, and that is that this movie shows it has a respect to, for the source material and the Sonic fandom. Like we got a couple of Easter eggs, like so let me just stress, there's kind of just saying, this saying with like fan service, where it can be done good or it can be done cynically. I feel like, um, I think an example, I know this is going to be one that would get me put on the stake, you know, really fast. But I think one, like an example of fan service done cynically is Ghostbusters Afterlife, where they literally shove so much fan service down your face, from the first movie. Like, you remember this? You remember this? Or, even, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, a less controversial take that I'm going to have. Um, but I've already lost the audience with that shit. I'm fucked, but no, so, anyways, with, um, like Star Wars, there was like these fans that was like, oh, remember when they did this thing? We brought the Palpatine back. Woo! We brought the Lando back. Woo! We're doing the thing. We're doing the fan theories. Woo! You like this stuff, kids, right? Yeah, we're so fan servicey. But here it's more like, you know, it's not being shoved in your face, and it's done, very respectful, and it feels like there was passion behind it, like seeing, so there's this like character in the town in the beginning, which, by the way, I love this guy. He's kind of the crazy Dave. What was his kid? Hang on, I gotta look him up. Real quick. Crazy Carl. Yeah, Crazy Carl. So Crazy Carl, he actually uh is like the one who um first notices Sonic, but because he's Crazy Carl, no one believes him. And he has a little drawing of, Sonic, that crappy, Sonic doodle. I shouldn't say crappy. What? See, that right there is blasphemous. I'm talking a masterpiece of art, Sonic. And it's spelled with Sanic, not Son. Yeah, just look up Sonic. Yeah, that got referenced in the movie. There was also a little bit of Green Hill Zone, music playing at the end, but it's kind of just a piano take of da 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 da. Very mellow, I like that. But I feel like even then the fan service, it goes a bit deeper than that, or just to respect like Sonic, rescuing a turtle, in the beginning from Game Run Over, that's very in line with the, Sonic as a character, as Sonic does, save woodland creatures. Um, there's that. The fact that Sonic hates mushrooms, I feel like that's kind of like a dig to, for towards, like the whole rivalry. I can't speak. rivalry. There we go, rivalry between Mario and Sonic, because Mario is, known for getting power up with mushrooms. Sonic being like, mushrooms, I hate mushrooms. Or, like he doesn't want to go to a mushroom planet. It's kind of a cheeky little reference, you know, and I think, you know, and also the way that like Sonic beats, Robotnik in his little like Robotnik has his, flying aircraft ship that has, that stole Sonic's speed. And the way Sonic takes it out is like how you would take it out in the game by like, you know, going into a ball, jumping onto it. It felt so reminiscent of that. And it felt like the first Sonic the Hedgehog game of just trying to take it out. you know and yeah, I just felt like it wasn't shoved in your face, but it was like nice for the fans, like, oh, that's really cool, hey, good job. um so yeah, there was actually, those things, I really liked, and they made this movie enjoyable. I'm spoiling my own self, but yeah, anyway, I did talk about 5 things I dislike, I like, but I'm about to talk about 5 things I dislike slash criticisms. Now, for the first one, technically, this isn't the movie, but it is in a way, or at least it was. It would have been a possible future of the movie, a possible timeline. I just want to say a quote from a iconic internet legend, and just ask, what were they thinking? I mean, yeah, the first dislike, it has to go to that god awful design we saw in the trailer. I mean, literally, what were they thinking? And yeah, you could tell this had to be studio mandate, whatever, because no one with a creative eye or just, you know, any ounce of, imagination or whatnot would think, oh yeah, that looks good. No, it looks horrifying. Like, it's not even the fact. Like, yeah, we can go in the fact that it's like it doesn't feel like Sonic at all, or it doesn't capture, Sonic's, design from the games or whatever. He doesn't make that attempt. We could do that. I mean, he looks like, a very CGI, ugly, even more disgusting version of Cat, like Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat, with this weird Sonic head with short eyes. Yeah, it's just, again, no creative in that team would said, like, looked at it and be like, yeah, that looks fucking amazing. Wow, that's the best design ever. Better than the games. Like, I just want to know, who was the executive that's wanted that? In fact, they knew. Apparently, they knew. That was like the design was going to be controversial, but the audiences will come around to it. Well, the problem is they met the Sonic fandom and the video game fandom, and just people with common sense were like, oh, that's ugly. And here's the thing, we shouldn't have been surprised, but at the same, because it's from Paramount, the ones that greenlit the ugly Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle live action designs, and the ones that greenlit the horrible Bayformers design. Like, who in Paramount is making these god awful designs? Thankfully, they had the common sense to delay the movie and be like, yeah, maybe, maybe we should change it. And yeah, changing it was ultimately for the best. And it's not even just, again, oh, it's not faithful to the game source. It's just a very ugly looking design. And I don't think it's not even as emotive as the design we got in the movie. So, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Uh, now anyway, now we're going into some actual criticisms of the movie. The first one is so as part of the respectfulness to the source material, we actually do get to see you know Green Hill Zone, like the actual zone with the loop de loops, the checkerboards, and the very game like sunflowers that we see BB Sonic hold, you know, to Owl Mom. We get to see that, but it's for a very short moment at the beginning, and I'm just like, man, I wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see more of that really creative, wacky world, with loop de loops and all that. Where was that? That was missing throughout most of the movie. In fact, I feel like that opening sequence was just a kind of a bit, rushed, just because, it's like Baby Sonic's like, hey, look, this is the owl that way raised me. Oh no, you know, the echidna race is trying to kidnap Sonic, and oh no, Mama Owl was left behind and is presumably dead. you know. But it just felt very short, and it's kind of a shame. I wish we got to see that a bit longer or just more of it because it's better than what we got, honestly, which was just a Montana town called Green Hills, which, yeah, that does sound like a very U.S. town, Green Hills, but come on, you had the real Green Hill Zone, but you gave the name Green Hills to a Montana town. Come on, guys. Um, this next one I'm going to talk about is the cop storyline. So, Tom, James Marsden, he plays this cop named Tom, and he has this wife named Maddie, who's played by Tika Sumpter. It's not so much that it's bad, per se, but it's kind of just it's like I didn't come to this movie to care about this cop wanting to be a cop from move to the big city and become a big city cop. I don't really care about that storyline. That's just not the movie I wanted to go see, and it's pretty generic. I feel like I could have done without the entire storyline. It just or just change it up so it's not like, oh, I'm a small city cop who doesn't fight enough crime. I want to be in the big city and make a name out of myself. It's just very generic. And again, it's just something I was like, I don't really care for this. And I do kind of get why they needed to, for the story of how it played out, where they needed to do that. For the script, it makes sense, but again, it's just kind of I didn't really care for it. Um, this next one is, I guess, very subjective, but I thought the robots Robotnik used in the movie were, I guess I didn't really care for them too much. Um, or it's not even that they're bad looking. Okay, they have the drone egg. They are egg shaped. So you got that Eggman reference. Right there. But my problem is that the drones, they look too similar with one each other. They still all have that, similar, you know, like drone, like, white, black with, a little bit of red design, and they feel very drone like, again, which isn't necessarily inherently bad, but I'm just saying it compared to what we got in the games, where we got these very colorful robots that were based off of different animals. Those were cool. It's kind of a shame that those were like the robots we saw in the games. Like Buzz Bomber, Neutron, Crabmeat, Chopper, Motobug, and again, I'm just looking at uh a picture on Google Google Images, so maybe that's not really their name, but I'm hoping it is. But again, we got these, very colorful, pretty, cool looking designs. I wish we could have seen in the movie, but instead they kind of just have that samey drone like appearance, which I felt was kind of a shame. Um, and anyway, my last critique, and this one I feel like is the biggest one, and it does actually hurt the movie, sadly, is that the rivalry between the protagonist and the antagonist, it doesn't feel like there's a rivalry between Sonic and Robotnik, even though Sonic and Robotnik have a little bit of banter. It feels more like it's Robotnik and Tom the cop who has the rivalry, who has, the antagonist nature. In fact, when Robotnik ambushes Sonic and Tom and Maddie on the rooftop of that building, Robotnik doesn't say, "Oh, hello, Sonic." No, he says, "Hello, Mr. Wachowski." He's talking to Wachowski most of the time. That's where most of the banter was coming from. In that aspect, it was mostly between Tom and Robotnik, and it made it feel like Sonic was the third reel of the conflict, and that's a problem this is supposed to be when Sonic is supposed to be the main protagonist, and Robotnik is the main antagonist from the games. There should be this rivalry between Sonic and Robotnik, but ultimately, because we don't get enough you know, of Sonic and Robotnik banter, or Sonic getting on Robotnik's nerves. I mean, it's more Tom getting on Robotnik's nerves. That's a disservice to, you know, like the characters, because it just doesn't feel like Robotnik's really like, yeah, even though his goal is to capture Sonic, that's it. That's the goal. It's not, like the person, the personal conflict, or rather, you know, he doesn't like he wants to get Sonic for his goal, but he wants to one up the cop because the cop was the one who punched him. The cop is the one that, you know, pub, was humiliating him. Really, you know, that was the big problem. So yeah, and that's one thing I'm hope like out of all the things I want them to fix for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is that I want it to feel like Robotnik and Sonic have the rivalry, not Robotnik and the cop. And judging from the trailers, it looks like that's going to be the case. So anyway, we're going to end this with my overall thoughts. So, overall, this movie is not a cinematic masterpiece, nor is it trying to be. While it has plenty of flaws and is an overall generic movie, it does accomplish what it needed to be the most, which was a very good and enjoyable Sonic the Hedgehog adaptation. So, there you go. That's it for this episode. I thank you all for listening. I'm available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean.com, and Podcast Addicts. If you are listening to this on YouTube, make sure to press subscribe, the like button or the dislike button, and leave a comment. Do whatever. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Next week, we'll be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And I'll see you guys next week. Take care.